Hey, all, Bryan VantHof here with Remax Advantage Plus, Ramsey Trusted, and the Minnesota real estate team. Welcome to the last week of summer, right? Today is Thursday, August 28th. Beautiful weather weekend here coming up. We are certainly here at unofficially the last week of summer here. So, hey, things are looking great this weekend. Get out and enjoy the beautiful weather coming up. As I look out the window here today, certainly seeing some leaf colors already changing. So we are certainly on our way into fall here. Signs of it are all around us here. So get out and enjoy the last remaining few days of summer here. Enjoy it. Get this, enjoy the weather. Beautiful mid 70s, high 70s, and sunny. So hey, get out and take advantage. Anyway, let's talk about the week that was. As we get into this here a little bit later, we will talk about some additional stats as kind of what I look at as the real estate fiscal year and the differences between the first half of the fiscal year and the second half of the fiscal year. Seller's market, buyer's market, kind of where things are at throughout that 12-month stretch. And the fiscal year for real estate isn't the same thing as a calendar year, in my opinion. So we'll talk about that here a little bit later first. But first, let's talk about the week that was in the Twin Cities real estate market for previously owned homes within a 50-mile radius of downtown Minneapolis in Minnesota. We saw 1,033 new listings hit the market in the past 7 days. That is 112 fewer than last week, but it's 132 more than we saw this last week of August last year. Of the new listings, 204, almost 20%, did sell in that first week. That is a similar pace to where we were last week and as well as last year. Of the new listings, 726 are single-family homes. That's down 73. 205 are townhomes, that's down 35, and 102 are condos, that is down 4. There are 214 coming soon listings on the market right now. That is down 100 from where we were last week and 68 fewer than we had 1 year ago. So as we head into Labor Day, we likely will see a little bit of a decrease in not available inventory, but new listings next week compared to where we were last year and last week. Total available inventory dropped by 1 to 6,041 homes, 567 more than where we were last year, and nearly 2,000 homes more on the market this year than where we were 2 years ago. Of the available, 3,794 are single-family homes. That is down 27 at a median listing price of $485,000. That is down $10,000. 1,183 are townhomes. That is up 20 from last week. Median listing price of $300,000. That's unchanged. 1,064 are condos, up 6 from last week, and a median listing price of $210,000. That's up $5,000 from last week. 723 homes went from active to pending this past week. That's down 39. And 772 went from pending to sold. That is down 64. Mortgage rates continue to do almost nothing, as we saw very little fluctuation in mortgage rates over the past week. Good mortgage broker will be right around that 6.5% mark on a fixed 30-year conventional mortgage. We are down in rates by about 1/8 from last month, nearly a quarter from 3 months ago, unchanged from 6 and 9 months ago, but almost 3/8% higher than 1 year ago. For showing requests, we had 13,810 realtor scheduled showing requests over the past week. That is down 765 from the prior week. Showings per listing was right at 3.0. Last year, we had fewer showing requests, even though our interest rates were 0.3% lower than where they are today. Last year, we were at 12,075 showing requests and 2.84 showings per listing. So activity continues to be relatively strong. I think we have better consumer confidence, at least in the Twin Cities area, and it's been very good this year. We continue to be busier this year than we were last year for showings. So now let's talk a little bit about market timing. We hear a lot about when is the best time to be a buyer? When is the best time to be a seller? Just tell me, when's the best time? How can I time the market? How can I get the best deal? How can I make the most money if I'm a seller? How can I get the best deal if I'm a buyer? So, there are absolutely trend lines when you look at things. You have to buy when you are ready, but there are certainly times of the year when if you feel like as a buyer you want to get a better deal, there are times of the year when that certainly comes into play. And if you're a seller and you want to get the most money for your property, well, I shouldn't air quote most money because everybody wants the most money for their property, right? There are times of the year when you tend to see higher offers compared to your list price than other times of the year. So there are a lot of factors that go into when is the best time to be a buyer, when is the best time to be a seller. Not everything is one size fits all. It certainly can be, it just depends on your personal situation, what you're looking for, whether there's specific types of inventory that you're looking for out there. So don't just think that what I'm going to talk about here is, the tried and true. You can only do certain things at certain times of year. That's what I'm going to be talking about is not necessarily specific to your situation, just as the market in general. So what I'm going to look at now is actually, to start, I'm going to talk a little bit about previously owned homes under 600,000, over 600,000 within that 50-mile radius of downtown Minneapolis and Minnesota, just to give you a little perspective on what's going on in the higher price point homes. We are seeing an increase in activity from the past couple of years. So looking at closed sales of properties 600K or more within that 50-mile radius, May through July of this year. This year we saw 2,037 closed sales of homes above $600,000. Last year, May to July, that number was 1,746. In 2023, that number was 1,582. And in 2022, the number was 2,129. It was early 2022 when we started to see the rise in mortgage interest rates. Mortgage rates went above 5% for the first time in a long time in April of that year and rose to 6% by October of 2022. 2022 numbers for home sales at 600K or more between May and June were certainly boosted by the better interest rates we had then as compared to today. Yet we sold nearly the same number of 600,000 plus homes this year with interest rates in the mid sixes as we did in early 22 when rates were in the fives. So this is a good sign. We are seeing a free up of home availability, kind of that move up home. 500,000 and up, 400,000 and up can still also be considered move up homes, but we are seeing more activity in the 600,000 plus range than we have in 3 years, which certainly helps everybody kind of who was stacked up at the lower price points be able to find maybe a little bit more inventory as more home sellers at 600 plus are selling. So that's a good sign for our market in general to help keep a healthy level of inventory available to everyone. So that's a little bit on the 600,000 plus market. So that's what I wanted to talk about there. But I also mentioned market timing, though, as part of the conversation this week. In real estate, in my opinion, and this probably isn't a shock to anybody, there are really two very distinct times of the year to be a buyer or a seller, or trend lines maybe is a better way to look at it. I believe the fiscal year for real estate is more of, it starts in February. So the fiscal year, in my opinion, for real estate starts in February. That's really kind of a month where we can see definitive changes in things that are happening out in the real estate market. First half of the fiscal year is usually more of a seller's market, and the second half tends to become more balanced to even more of a buyer's market in general. With information gleaned from InfoSparks, which is a stats database program that we have available to us as local realtors to do research on our market. Very few realtors use it. Very few realtors know how to use it. Very few realtors tap into this. So you won't get a lot of this information from other sources. We can definitely see trend lines in sales prices throughout the year. For the numbers I'm going to talk about here, they are for previously owned homes in the Twin Cities overall market, not just the 50-mile radius, but the Twin Cities overall market of homes under $600,000. In 2024, starting with purchase agreements written in February, sellers received 99.8% of their original list price on average. Sellers received on average more than 100% of their original list price all the way through June purchase agreements before dropping back below 100% in July. Remember, last year was slower than where we were this year. In 2023, sellers received 99.3% of original listing price, rose above 100%, and did not drop below. Again, this is for February. In 2023, sellers in February received 99.3% of original list price, rose above 100% and did not drop below 100% until September. Purchase agreements averaged 99% of original list price. 2022 is a little stronger earlier in the year due to those lower interest rates. But again, the sellers ended up accepting offers in August of 2022 that were below 100%. And in August of 2022, it was 99% of the original list price. The trend line of what sellers accepted off of their original list price continued downward after those August, September dates to below 100%, hitting lows in December purchase agreements each year before slowly rising to 100% or more by February contracts. This maybe is a little bit confusing to talk about, but December 2024 purchase agreements ended up averaging 97.1 of original listing price. December 2023 purchase agreements hit 96.5, and December 2022 hit 95.7. Why do I bring this up? In this real estate fiscal year, or in the real estate fiscal year 2024, there was a nearly 4% swing from the high to the low for the year on what sellers received of their original listing price. Over 100% early in the year, under 100% later in the year. That's a fairly large swing. If you're talking about a $500,000 house at 4%, that's potentially a 4%. 40 times 4 times 5, about $20,000 on a $500,000 house on price difference earlier in the year compared to later in the year. In 2023, it was a 6% swing from high to low. In 2022, it was nearly 10% swing between high and the low for the year. That can be very beneficial to you as a buyer. So if you are looking to buy, we are absolutely entering the best time of the year to be a buyer, when now you're going to start to see more of a balance or more of a lean towards buyers getting something to a little bit better of a discount for you as a buyer. So if you're looking to potentially knock 5 to 10% off of original list price on a home right now is your best chance of being able to accomplish that. I'm not talking about lowballing things. I'm not talking about offering $100,000 off of a listing. I'm talking about, can I get 5% off of a list price? Can I get 6% off of a list price? Now is your best time of the year to potentially accomplish that, comparatively speaking to other times of the year. So we're really entering that time of the year where if you're a buyer, this is the time where you need to start buying. December is when sellers are the most desperate. However, December is also the time of the year when we see the least amount of inventory. So there is a limited amount of selection to pick from, even though you get to potentially negotiate a little bit lower. It's a limited inventory to pick from. So we are kind of entering that period where things are at a balance, where most inventory, most negotiating power, giving you the most options available out there. You need to start talking now, because we are heading into September here on Sunday here. So we are heading into the time of the year when you have the most selection and the most negotiating power as a combination. So I'd love to talk to you about your goals. Don't wait until December if you want to buy something and get the best possible deal. And don't wait until December. We very likely will see home prices going up next year. There is talk that mortgage rates will be going down a little bit, at least in the first quarter of next year, which is going to drive prices up again. So if you're a buyer, let's get you out there now to really kind of look at the market and take advantage of it. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, I'd love to have a conversation about timing, about your goals, how I can help. I'm here to provide resources and information. I really want to help you get the best deal possible for yourself, whether you're selling or buying. I'm here to be that agent that helps you. Please reach out anytime, call, text, email. All of my contact information is included here. I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you.